All right, page 269, and it places to know where battles were fought. Having some tea. It's really good. It's a pea flower and green tea. Yummy. Well, I noticed that it's breaking up on this, but it seems to be coming through okay on the other ones. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a roll of the dice with that stuff usually. Alright, some have in cities and fortresses, in the open countryside, and on the seas. Sometimes the so important that the battle became a mess. On the next pages, you visit some of the most famous battlegrounds in the world. Thousands of Mexican soldiers fought against Texas soldiers in the Alamo years ago. The Alamo is the place where Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie died defending Texas. Victory or death. I shall never surrender or retreat. Those were the words of Colonel Travis, who defended the Alamo with about 150 soldiers of the Texas Army. The colonel and his men were trapped inside a mission called the Alamo that they were using a fort that they were using as a fort. Excuse me, the shadows on the page. Santa Anna, the Mexican leader, who waited outside the Alamo with more than 1,000 soldiers, he knew that the Texans did not have many supplies. Colonel Travis sent messengers for help, but no help came. Still, he would not give up. Finally, Santa Anna ordered his men to charge. They killed every soldier in the Alamo. Men such as Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie fought so bravely that even their enemies told stories of their courage. "Remember the Alamo" became a cry that inspired soldiers in other battles. The Alamo. Today, you can visit the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas, and see the mission that turned into a battleground. It is a peaceful place with a museum full of things from the past, a library full of books, and gardens full of flowers. Deep in the heart of Texas, the stars at night are big and bright. D-Day beaches. The landing of Normandy Beach on June 6, 1944 was the beginning of the Allied march across France. Today, German fortifications that couldn't stop their Allied landing. Today, German fortifications that couldn't stop the Allied landing still stand on Normandy Beach. When is D-Day? That's a military secret because a D-Day is a day when an invasion begins. During World War II, D-Day was supposed to be June 5th, 1944. Almost 3 million men from the armies of the United States and its allies were all set to invade the beaches of Normandy and drive Adolf Hitler's army out of France. But the weather was stormy, so the leader of the invasion, General Eisenhower, commanded the armies to wait. In the early morning of June 6, the gliders landed in enemy territory. Ships fired their big guns, airplanes dropped bombs, and the Allies landed on the beaches. It was the most famous D-Day of all, the beginning of the end of World War II. Today, the quiet Normandy beaches are still strewn with reminders of the invasion of D-Day. The red brick wall. Long ago, some African people called the Moors built a fortress in Granada, Spain. They also built a palace behind the red brick walls of the fortress. They called the fortress and palace Alhambra, an Arabic word that means the red. In 1492, the same year that Columbus sailed for America, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain ordered their armies to attack the Moors. The Spanish army marched to the Alhambra at the foot of the Malhacien, the highest mountain in Spain. The Moors lost the battle, and the Alhambra, which was their last stronghold in Spain. Through the years, the Alhambra began to crumble. No one did much to preserve it until after the American writer Washington Irving went to live in Spain for a while. Irving wrote a book called The Alhambra. His book stirred people to save the Alhambra from becoming a ruin. Today, you can walk through the gardens of the Alhambra and look up at the steep mountains. The Alhambra in Granada, Spain. The Court of the Lions has a fountain surrounded by stone lions. It's not because I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm just reading fast, just the shadows and just, lack of perfection, I guess. I don't know. Citizens of France freed prisoners from the battle in Paris during the French Revolution. Free for all. Storm the Bastille. Storm the Bastille. Free the prisoners. That was a Freudian slip. That's what an angry crowd shouted as they ran through the streets of Paris, France on July 14th, 1789. Storm the Bastille! Bastille. Do you say Bastille or Bastille? Bastille. The French Revolution had already begun, and the people wanted to free the prisoners jailed in the Bastille to show King Louis the 14th, right? King Louis the 14th, how much they hated the way he treated all Frenchmen. When Governor Delaunay lowered the drawbridge of the Bastille to let in some of the king's troops, the crowd rushed inside too. They killed the guards and freed the prisoners. The next day they began to tear down the Bastille, and today only a few stones remain. Every year on Bastille Day, July 14th, Frenchmen celebrate the freeing of France from the rule of kings. Custer's Last Stand, June 25th, 1876. U.S. soldier, 7th Cavalry. Rest in peace. The Custer Battlefield National Monument in Montana has many stone markers on places where Custer's men died. Sorry, it's just a remembrance day, not just for Custer. It's who we saying rest in peace to? To whoever wants to accept it. Just rest in peace. Oh, if you think it's for you, then why do you think that? Tell us. I know they've all been doing a great job of that over the years. It's not a joke and it's not funny and it's not about being better than or proving anybody right or wrong. It's about getting these fucking morons here in Augusta, Maine to acknowledge the truth and reality, which they're having a hard time doing. So hopefully, well, over the years, many do realize the truth. That's why they move away. Have you noticed? Yeah, they usually go to Florida, Texas, California, because they know what the fuck they're doing. And when people like me call it out and they can't shut us up with one of their radicals or goons, right? And you can see how they do that, right? And the strongholds they have and what they've been doing here with our children. Are they teaching us a lesson? Yeah, I don't think people realize just the level of abuse some of these kids go through in the hands of these sick fucking punks that you give so much control and power to because they're teaching us a lesson, right? Yeah, people understand that and they see how that's been happening across the board and it's putting a lot of people in danger from the streets to law enforcement to the president. And you motherfuckers need to wake the fuck up and help these children. Hi, my name is Mary. We'll step outside my bedroom door. We do this once in a while. We'll step outside my bedroom door. So my youngest two children are here through this door right here. The private investigator was standing up that hallway and I tried to take my father's what the phone on and I didn't want to leave. Now my children in 2011, 2013, vaccinated behind my back in 2013, Dr. Baker went through family practice with these punks who wanted to deem me to be dangerous. They can't talk and tell you the abuse they've been going through and what we've been dealing with these activist groups and all the bullshit and games being played here over the years. It's disgusting. We took a trip to Canada in 2017. Right, when you hear their stories that help people to understand the level here, and then a lot of people in Canada are disgusted with you too, even the ones that you think are helping you. Yeah, they didn't want you to do that. They're going, oh my God, can you believe these people are actually doing this? And all they can do is be the passenger, right? You know how that works? Right, so trust me, they know too. They're not going to tell you to your face, though. If you can't get the picture, I mean, we can spell it out more clear if you need it to be spelled out again. Right, so the facts are the facts. Hello. And I really, really hope, we'll go back in our bedrooms here, and I really, really hope that the proper authorities do what they're supposed to do to help these children. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting and disturbing what's been going on here. I sure hope so. Do you have any other questions, comments, or concerns with that? Or suggestions as to how we can help those kids without breaking the law? Right, so we know and we understand that. So what it's about is getting people to acknowledge the facts, what's been happening here over the years, because that helps to show the truth in these situations and it helps to educate the public and bring forth the dire need and understanding for that education within the public systems and healthcare systems. Right, so we're trying to help on an overall scale. We're very rational people. We understand that we're dead mothers and we can't help our children. Those kids usually wind up dead. Okay, they get abused till they die. So hopefully people wake up to that and we can focus on education, helping these fucking sadistic, mentally ill people that are over medicated and really believe their childish, stupid beliefs, whether you want to say it's spiritual or religious. You people are fucked in the head, dude. You need help. So hopefully they wake up, because that's what it's all about, is getting people to realize, right, I mean, you can't really help the systems, right? Things will not be properly implemented. People are not going to be treated right if you're dealing with that kind of sick, medicated mentality that think it's okay to abuse other people. Right. They don't look at it as abuse, though. Isn't that weird? They think it's justified. It's insane, and how they try to justify it, all the way to murder of innocent people. You see these psychos on the street throwing up hearts for a CEO that was murdered in the street. Can you imagine how his family must have felt? Yeah, no wonder. Yeah, right? Unbelievable. Who cares? Who really cares? Did he have children? Can you imagine? So hopefully there's enough people that are going to speak out. Right, because they could grow up really angry. Like they let them murder my father in the street in cold blood and they cheered it on. And still, to this day, they're not educating people as to. Right, I know. They think it's okay. So we're going to continue to wake these motherfuckers up and put them in their place and tell them what nasty, selfish, conceited, evil pieces of shit they are. It doesn't matter. Can you see it doesn't matter? Heaven and hell is right here and now. So, and they don't care. They really don't fucking care. Yeah, exactly. Right, so we're at peace. We're at peace. We don't even expect them to smack him on the wrist. We're so beside ourselves. How horrible. It's a day by day having to cope with that reality and accepting that our children are in the hands of the abusers that abused them in unspeakable ways. Imagine, and they've just been normalized to it. Do you think they wonder? Do you think they can hear my voice sometimes? Or I know I see them through the window sometimes, but I know they haven't seen me in quite some time, and unless they show them pictures, sometimes they do that, you know. And these people are really sick and evil. We've been right in the same room with them multiple times, doing the things they do and how they do it. Yeah, man, we've been right there. First-hand experience, how they get away with it, and how horrible it is for the victims who oftentimes die being laughed at, jailed, put in mental institutions, overdoses, accidents at the hands of these psychos. Right. So they don't want to look at it. They're sick fucking people, dude. They're nasty fucking people. I've lived with them my whole life, so I think I know exactly their tactics, their methods, and how easily they ignore these things. And I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how people ignore those things and carry on the way they do. You look at it and you see it and you know it's real, but still, I can't fucking understand it for the life of me, you sick fucking people. So, anyways, anyone listening in the world, my name's Mary. We're at the Governor Hill Mansion in Augusta, Maine. I have 4 children here, and my youngest 2 are in the hands of sick, murderous pedophiles. And we're going to keep speaking out until the proper authorities educate people as to how and why they got away with it and what's been going on here with the vaccines, the overprescribing of SSRIs, the misconceptions with schizophrenia and mental illness. This is fucking disturbing. And when you get to the point where you see these kids that were heavily medicated back decades ago when we were trying to bring attention and awareness to this, and now they're up in their 20s having kids of their own, murdering them, beating the shit out of them. Some of the story, it's so fucking scary, and they're all medicated always, and they're like fucking zombies, dude. And the way they act afterwards as though it just didn't even happen. Normal. What's next? We going to Burger King? Unfucking believable. So I'm not really sure what it's going to take to get people to wake up to that. And then when you have these fucking activists that are responsible for promoting and inciting those things, I know now we see them in the street rioting with their whistles getting shot in the face. Big fucking surprise. Not really. So anyways, I really hope the proper authorities do what they're supposed to do to help these children here, because you fucking sick motherfucking people have flooded the systems with your bullshit and put people in danger for long enough with your fucking drama and tissue issues. And delusional criminals that need to be locked up, right? Sick fucking people, man. So I really, really hope that the proper authorities do what they're supposed to do to help these children. Yeah, that'd be nice, huh? Yeah, they make it a point to blare it certain times. You notice that? Mm. Can you hear that? I did. If you play it back, you'll hear how it came on for like 3 seconds. Yeah, they do it at certain times. It must be about 4 a.m., huh? Oh, 4:01. Look at that. So, yeah, the games people are playing around here. Sometimes those are the good people, right? Right, giving you signal, letting you know they're there, keeping an eye on things. Yeah, this has gone on our whole lives with these drug traffickers and game wardens and police, investigators, good citizens. Right, so we're just kind of on the sidelines trying to not get hit by their bullshit. Right, we were put on the programs when we were 18 back in the year 2000 for a reason, and we told these sick fucking punks they weren't going to get away with it. Yeah, 2012, we told them they weren't going to get away with it. So when they realized that we were aware, and they desperately want to cover those things up, right? So when you look at that and you see the abuse that was happening, the abuse that happened, he beat up a little toddler in the tub. Need I say more? That should be enough, right? Right. So, anyways, when you add up all the other stuff in the catalytic converter chop shop they came up out of, yeah, just us personally, what we were dealing with and the Lyme treatment, going through treatment for that, having children, autism, Lyme disease, bioweapons, it's amazing. We haven't completely gone postal, right? I mean, my goodness, it's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, because most people probably would have lost it. A lot of people do. In these situations, oh yeah, they usually wind up dead or in jail or going totally crazy, just in a stupor of sadness and depression, trying to understand how people can be so fucking sick and disgusting and disturbing. How they can, I know, it's how can they live with themselves, really? You wonder. Yeah, so anyone listening, these games they've been playing with people and how that incites those kind of situations. It's totally fine, right? As long as they don't take it to the public spaces, right? Like the churches and the schools. As long as it stays within the households and just those kids get murdered and beaten and fucked. I know that's pissed us off since the 90s, you know that, right? Right. So we're like, okay. So it's just as long as it happens to just the kids in the household of these sickos, as long as they don't take it to the public and the innocent children don't get hurt. How are those kids not fucking innocent, you pricks? Yeah, that's the mentality we've been dealing with for a long time. So hopefully the proper authorities step the fuck up and they do what they can to help these children. I really hope so. Custer's last stand. General Custer fought many Indian battles, so when he and his men received orders to help round up the Sioux and the Cheyenne Indians, Custer thought the job would be easy. He had 650 men and figured there'd be about 1,000 Indians in a village near the Little Bighorn River in what is now Montana. Custer divided his men into three groups and ordered them to attack. Hello, good morning. Custer's group went around to the right of the village, planning to surprise the Indians from behind. reading about Custer's last stand. Instead, the Indians surprised them. Thus, see, class starts to notice over the years too, there are certain people, I'll answer their questions. See, others can come in and like there's nonstop, right, questions. But every once in a while, I answer one. And they've started to see the channels I answer. It's not necessarily an individual, could just be a certain frequency, could be a channel, could be an individual. There are certain individuals, channels, frequencies that I'll answer almost every time, or at least respond to. Sometimes they don't ask questions. Hey, how you doing? I'm good, thanks. Okay, that was a question. Think of something that's not a question. Well, it's more of a matter of opinion, but it's still a question, right? It's a beautiful day, huh? That's not necessarily a question. I guess it is, if you want to take it as one. Well, it's a beautiful day, eh? But if you say it's a beautiful day, huh? Huh? Then that's more of a question. That's not a question. That'd be more of a it's a beautiful day. Huh? Like a surprise. Like go figure. I thought it was going to be shitty today, but lo and behold, huh? It's a good day. Yeah, I guess you're right there. That's a nice shirt. Okay, there you go. That's a compliment, not a question. Thank you. So they I respond. So answer was the word that was confusing you. All right, so I respond. And a response isn't always an answer, is it? Right, like if you were to ask me, hey, how many cats are on that hill? And I don't even bother to try to figure it out or tell you. I'm just like, would you like some bread? You just, you totally just deflected my question and answered a question with a question. Well, it's not technically an answer then. I responded to a question with a question. You've been saying it wrong all these years, dipshit. Yeah, who's the dummy now? Right, so anyways, I really oh my goodness. Custer divided his men into three groups and ordered them to attack. Custer's group went around to the right of the village, planning to surprise the Indians from behind. Instead, the Indians surprised them, thousands of angry Indian warriors. They slaughtered Custer and all the men of his group. Only a horse survived. Today, you can see the Custer battlefield, a national monument in Montana. You can see the marble slabs that mark the places where Custer and his men fell. This painting by Frederick Remington is called Custer's Last Stand. With good old reliable Bice. It sometimes pays to be small. More than 300 years ago, the small English navy met and defeated the big Spanish Armada in the English Channel. Long ago, when most boats had sails, the people of Spain called their navy the Invincible Armada. Invincible means unbeatable, and an armada is a fleet of warships. When King Philip II of Spain ordered the Armada to attack England, the people of Spain cheered as the ships sailed out of the harbor. They thought their ships would win the war for sure. Many of the Spanish ships were like floating fortresses. Most of the ships of the English Navy were small, and some of them weren't even warships. The sailors on the Spanish and English ships started to fight in the English Channel. The English sailors would fire a shot, get out of range, and come back to fire again. After days of battle, the little English ships beat the Invincible Armada. From that battle on, for many, many years, England controlled the seas. 407 years ago, and we'll pause here, page 282, 283. This cemetery is called the Gettysburg Military Park. It is where the Battle of Gettysburg was fought. In Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, you can see the place where one of the bloodiest battles of American history was fought. Some people say that the Battle of Gettysburg was the turning point in the Civil War. General George G. Meade and his northern troops met General Robert E. Lee and his southern troops at Gettysburg. General Lee lost the battle after 3 days. So many men were killed that people came from many parts of the country to look for dead relatives on the battlefield. Today, almost 1,000 unknown soldiers were buried in the graveyard. President Lincoln dedicated the cemetery with one of his most famous speeches, the Gettysburg Address. It began 407 years ago. In Gettysburg, you can see statues of General Meade. Excuse me. In Gettysburg, you can see statues of General Meade and General Lee, as well as the graves of the 1,000 unknown soldiers. And the large Soldiers' National Monument stands on the spot where Lincoln made his famous speech. And do another one. All right, we'll do one more. The Tree of the Sad Night. The Tree of the Sad Night in Tacuba, Mexico. This drawing shows the army of Hernando Cortes fighting the Aztec Indians long ago. Long ago, Hernando Cortes of Spain decided to capture the Aztec Indian city of Tenochtitlan in what is now Mexico. Tenochtitlan. 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 Tenochtitlan is what is now Mexico. The Aztec leader, Montezuma II, thought Cortes was an Aztec god named Quetzalcoatl. What a name. Quetzalcoatl. Montezuma welcomed Cortes and his many army into the city with gifts of gold. Cortez. What did I say? Cortes? Yeah, Cortez. I think it's Cortes. Welcomed Cortes and his army into the city with gifts of gold. The Aztec had never seen guns and horses, and Cortes had never seen anything like Tenochtitlan with its places. With its palaces, pyramids, and floating gardens. He wrote to his king that it was the most beautiful city in the world. The Aztec became angry with both Cortes and Montezuma. One night, they killed many of Cortes' men and drove Cortes out of their city. It is said that after the battle, Cortes sat under a tree and wept. The night is remembered as La Noche Triste, which means the sad night. And today, in a place called Tacuba, near Mexico City, you could still see the tree of La Noche Triste, the tree Cortes sat under. After the Battle of La Noche Triste, Cortes came back and conquered the city of Tenochtitlan, the city we call Mexico City. Thank goodness they changed that to Mexico. Way easier to say. Tenochtitlan. I guess once you say it enough times, it becomes easy. Tenochtitlan. Yeah, that word. The fortress that didn't work. Might as well read the last page here in this section. The fortress that didn't work. This is how part of the Maginot Line in France looked during World War II. Want to play Call of Duty? That looks like it sucks. Hmm. No? What year is this? World War II? So let's see. Let's see. So during World War II, when they were fighting this war, they were trying to boost the morale through radio, movies, and music, featuring big bands and patriotic songs and comedies for escapism. Well, not for them, probably, huh? Or them too, or just the people here who have a hard time hearing about it and profiting from it. I don't know. While stars, what? While stars participated in USO shows, Bond drives, and patriotic cartoons, all unifying the nation with a mix of support and light-hearted relief. Right, and I mean, what was the purpose of it too, right? I mean, take a look at, right, just as far as spreading the good word of the Lord, teaching people about hygiene, law and order, respect. Right, so when you have unruly people that don't want to obey law and order and put people in danger, right. And I mean, they're more humane about that these days, especially here in the United States. I know in other places, yeah, they don't put up with a lot of that. I know some scenes you see and you're like, man, right. You always say that too. Where you're from, they would have been dead a long time ago, huh? Mm. We're a bit more humane over here. You are there too. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's like if they had just shown you like a lot of the gangster, some of the body footage of those things, and you think this is what goes on in that country. Well, just parts of it, right? In the ghetto. I don't, we're just trying to help with like overall human perception. We're not trying to say anybody's right, wrong, stupid, dumb. It's just basic awareness. Like, oh, we're all one. Like your country, my city, your house. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New Yorker. No, I'm telling you, they left New England out of the damn song. Sing the song. From California to the Redwood Island, this land was made for you and me. That ribbon of highway from the Gulf Stream waters. They leave out New England, the whole song. It's like, I think they just wanted to pretend like it wasn't there. And back in those days, you could almost pretend. You could just kind of border off an area like Area 51. Like it's a no-go zone. I mean, most people didn't want to anyways, right? Because it was cold. You think back in those days, you're walking into frickin' Antarctica. We wouldn't do it. We wouldn't survive, right? Not without the proper gear. Jamaica, we have a bobsled team. No, you can't. You can't use bobsleds here in July. Well, now they make snow machines, so maybe, I don't know. You can bobsled. without snow. That's true. You can do dry bobsledding on hills and stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't that considered more like go-kart racing then? No, because it's a bobsled. Oh, because it's shaped like a cigar, so it's a bobsled, not a go-kart. So, like, how short does it have to be a cart? Like, when does it become a sled? This is a sleigh. Right, so, I mean, is there a certain dimension? Is it like, okay, this is longer than 3 or 4 feet now, it's not a cart, it's a sled. Oh, a cart. Well, see, now it doesn't even make sense. You lost me. I have no idea what you're talking about. You know, swing band music was really popular. Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. Boogie Woogie. I don't know. Maybe it just made people feel better so they didn't feel sad. Right, just for basic too, because they liked it too, right? People would travel around and perform for the soldiers to give them entertainment. I mean, that was good medicine, right? A lot of them would say that's what they looked forward to, saved their lives. They had this stage door canteen, offered relaxation and entertainment for the soldiers. Government involvement. The government worked with Hollywood through the Hollywood War Activities Committee. Have you ever looked up the Hollywood War Activities Committee? I know when you really start going back and you see a lot of this stuff, right? No disrespect. We're all soldiers here. I don't care. I don't really care. You can take your badge and your rank and your credentials and your diploma and you can shove it. Anyways. Right, I know, but thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we need another fucking moron giving a useless opinion. Thank you. Anyways. So, to ensure that entertainment supported national goals, which sometimes involved censorship. No, censorship, okay? Oh, freedom of speech. Thank goodness for censorship. No one wants to see that, huh? The fortress that didn't work. Anyways, you'd have to travel 100 miles an hour for 2 whole hours to get from one end of the other of a line of fortress. To get from one end to the other of a line of fortresses along the eastern border of France. And you'd have to pay $2 million a day, every day, from January through most of July to build this long line of fortresses. It's called the Maginot Line, and it got its name from Andre Maginot, a French hero of World War I. The Maginot Line was built after World War I and before World War II to protect France from Germany. Along the Maginot Line, French soldiers wore elevators down to their living quarters underground. They raced on bicycles with messages through the tunnels between the forts. Others carried supplies on a special underground railroad. Today, much of the underground parts of the Maginot Line have been made into bomb shelters. The Royal Canadian Air Fortress stores supplies in another part of it, and one of the forts is a radar station. You'd think a fort would really protect France, but during World War II, the Maginot Line didn't help France a bit. The Germans just went around it. As good as old. We'll read that section next. Got Williamsburg. Is that in West Virginia? Williamsburg, Virginia? I don't know. Mount Vernon. Hey, there's a Mount Vernon Avenue right up the road. Yeah, it has a history of being in one of the heaviest drug areas here, but that's dwindled out. It was worse in the 90s. Yeah, here it was, yeah, those areas too. Mount Vernon and over here by the skate park, a few different areas. Right, I mean, it's typically, yeah, where low income or subsidized housing would be. Hmm. I mean, they're really no different than the others. What's the difference? They're in low income and subsidized areas. It's where things get. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that for sure. Well, it's just only natural. Right. I mean, it's like in those worlds, as far as that's why they try to focus on those kind of crimes. Right. Because they're all dealing, right? They're all trading and dealing and stealing. So arrest them all. Right. So while people in that world are like, arrest them all, get rid of them, because we could really do some good things with this area. We're good people and we have good taste. So just arrest them all. Right. They just ignore the ones they can't. You see how they carry on with their nasty fucking businesses and bullshit? Like they're not even there. Mm. Amazing, isn't it? Fucking amazing. Right. I know. So, like, those people who just like spend their time worrying about talking themselves out of a speeding ticket for speeding through residential areas because they can. It's even if they get caught, they can just talk their way out of it or pay for it, right? They don't care what's the speeding ticket. Pay for the speeding ticket. I know how many of them they brag almost about how many speeding tickets they've took their way out of or they have. It's like a 2 hour conversation sometimes. Like this is what these people do. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I mean, we put up with it to a certain extent just for educational purposes and to try to show others. But I mean, yeah, by 2010, that got played out so bad. And those idiots, we called them the Jimmy Kimmel and Zelensky crews. Yeah, they were the idiots going around trying to teach my parents and the hags and other people a lesson. They don't know how to masturbate. Right. Right. So, I mean, no, when you really think about these sick people and what they've been doing here and allocating and putting the money and accessibility to these things in the hands of very dangerous, sick people, well, we've already seen the results of that and what's been happening in the world and the level of zombies, mentally ill. I mean, people with just no fucking empathy, compassion, wherewithal that can literally murder children, their own children, in some of the most heinous ways that you can't even imagine anyone treating anybody like that, let alone an innocent child or a mentally retarded person. Right? That's almost just, it's just as bad, right? Because a lot of these people that have the mindset of a child because their brains are damaged from all the chemicals and vaccines, that increase of autism everyone's been talking about. Right? I mean, it's not just from that, is it? I mean, probably just a lack of. I mean, I wouldn't say socialization, but just a lack. Mm. Big time. Wow, huh? Yeah, it doesn't even make sense. It's like they don't even have a car to get a speeding ticket with. They can't even afford a car. And they know that. I mean, they know these people in these areas where most of them are at the whim of the state departments. And then when you have these sick fucking cunts and nurses and people working in the state departments that have been doing what they're doing. No, no, no. We tried calling this out between 2008 and 2012. It was getting really fucking bad, dude. Right? We had private investigators literally kill themselves, shoot themselves in the fucking head. Really good people disappeared. Good fucking doctors that were trying to help get killed. You motherfucking pigs. So I really hope the proper authorities here in Augusta, Maine do what they're supposed to do to help these children, because these people aren't going to do anything about it. No, they're going to continue to ignore it. So we're going to continue to have to speak out for our children that are here in the hands of sick, murderous pedophiles. So if you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, yeah, if you have any suggestions as we can help them without breaking the law, and we know you can't, and we know you don't have any suggestions, Mr. President, Dan Bongino, David Wilcock, Putin, Kim Jong-un. I mean, he tried with the hot dog thing, right? No more hot dogs, right? And when you look at the history here and what's been going on, if the people think this is a fucking joke and it's about anything to do with that, or teaching people lessons or being in control, that's the fucking problem. And that's how these kids continue to get abused, when these people in these local areas want to continue to be pig-headed motherfucking bitches and punk-ass cunts and ignore what's happening here with the children and the abuse. When they make child and animal pornography with Russian and Chinese and Middle Eastern channels, and these drug traffickers and sickos that make a lot of the fake ones that are all protecting each other with the money, fraud, and the drugs, they'll let us fucking die, and they'll let our children be abused till they die. As you can see, that's already fucking happened. We're already dead. Those kids have been abused their whole fucking lives by these sick fucking punks. And you people want to act like they're well taken care of? Right. So hopefully the proper authorities do what they're supposed to do to help these children. Yeah, the private investigator tried telling these motherfucking pigs. He was standing right fucking there trying to tell them, and they didn't want to listen. And he ended up blowing his brains out. Right, and his girlfriend took off to Florida. So when you hear the stories of the people and what their impressions are, what their opinions are, that should help you understand how these fucking punks get away with it. Because everybody's just going off the paperwork. When you got Dan Bongino standing there going, he killed himself with his head down, and we all know the truth. If that doesn't show you again, over and over again, how the people up in those positions have to go by what's on paperwork. And then when they look at what these fucking sickos and dumb, immature bitches and sluts and cuts around here have been reporting for years. We can go back to my siblings between 2008 and 2012 if you like. And then how many of them got brought into doing the hazing and the tating and the investigations, and then they move away. Yeah, they're fucking sick, stupid motherfucking cunts. They're nasty people, and I hope you and your retarded children burn in hell forever and ever. I really do. Because that's what you deserve. And how they've gotten a lot of them to ignore and join in on some of those things is disgusting and disturbing. You're all being blindly led. And if you had any kind of moral compass, you wouldn't be able to be blindly led. You'd know, no, that's not right. I don't think that's okay. That's wrong. But instead, you're over-medicated drug addict pieces of shit who want to justify it, you sick fucking people. So I really hope that the proper authorities do what they're supposed to do to help our children. My name's Mary. We're at the Governor Hill Mansion in Augusta, Maine. My youngest two children are through this door in the hands of sick, murderous pedophiles. His name's Michael Scott Garand and his sick mother, Shirley. These are facts, and it'd be wrong of us to not speak out about it. And if you believe those are not the facts, then maybe we should have a conversation as to why you believe those are not the facts. And they won't do that. Because when it's placed out there and you start questioning the little boy that got beat up in the tub, the dog's leg blowing up, vaccinating my children behind my back, just the initial meeting, 2010. Right, we saw him coming a mile away, dude. We told you that. In 2009, the private investigator who shot himself and the father of my oldest two ran away. And then boom, these guys come in. I know, right? And his buddies, right? Captain, Fever. Where'd they take off to when we told them they weren't going to get away with it? Not them, the sick motherfucking punk. And when they know that motherfucker's probably doing shit he shouldn't be doing. But they're doing other things, right? They got to protect the other stuff they're doing with. What are they doing? Right, a lot of different things, aren't they? They got to play it by ear. What are their beliefs? Right, you got these guys going around playing the suicide games, but just to the ones that deserve it, right? Helping with the cartel investigations. Or you just getting the hick that's had it coming for years, because I know they've pissed off a lot of people. That's all we've heard over the years is the stories of the people they've pissed off, given open-handed raps to. The guys from Switzerland, the construction outfits, the drug trafficking. So if you motherfucking pigs want to keep playing your games, you can go right ahead. I hope you all fucking burn in hell right where you belong. Yeah, they like it there. Anyways, I really hope the proper authorities do what they're supposed to do to help these children. In the meantime, between time, when you have a favorite toy that breaks, you fix it and make it almost as good as new. Buildings and castles and cities don't break, but sometimes they wear out and need fixing too. When we make a building or a castle or a city look the way it did when it was first built, we call it a restoration. Read the next few pages and you will find out about some famous restorations.